Hello there fellow humans and welcome to this video, and today I want to talk about the Action X again. I think it's been like 2 months, so here we are. But this time it is in shop for a lot cheaper. Last time it was sold for 12,000 gold, and now it's in the shop for around 8,000 gold, and also you have credits and premium time with it. So the offer is a lot better. However, the tank is still more or less the same, as it is disappointing. Now, one thing that has changed, however, though, is the regular Carnarvon. Now, I'm on my NA account here because I couldn't be bothered to switch, but the regular Carnarvon is a better tank. It has more alpha damage, it has higher DPM even, and the armor is not on that turret, but the armor on the regular turret is also quite a bit better because the Action X does have a cupola on top, which is very bad. Also, you can pen the sides here everywhere, and the front plate is also very, very weak, except against tier 7s. Nonetheless, I don't recommend buying it. I don't think it's worth it at all, because the MXM4 exists, the TF42 exists, and this thing is just simply disappointing. Nonetheless, let's play a game, let's see how it goes. It really hasn't changed that much, besides now the regular Carnarvon being better and this thing being cheaper. So in the end, you kind of end up at the same thing again, at roughly the same standpoint, where it's an okay tank, it's not a good tank, it's not a bad tank, and it's not worth it, basically. And the main reason for that is because this thing requires a playstyle where you basically can't trade with anyone. You always are on the back foot in this thing. You can't actively fight anyone, because of the only having 190 alpha damage means everyone else, if you approach anyone else, they're always going to outtrade you. For example, in this match, I have the lowest alpha damage of any tank, which isn't really fun. I also need 2 shots to kill this guy, whereas in the TF42, I could have killed him in 1. Which means you also have to expose yourself a lot longer. So basically, the way you have to play this thing is you have to sit somewhere on the side, hope no one notices you, and then pump shots into the side of the enemy, hoping you can then do enough shots to make up all the lost damage that you basically lost by playing this thing instead of the TF42. As you can see, just tiny damage. How did he miss that? Okay. Shooting that guy. Let's try to go for the IS-3, and that's ideally what you want to do in this thing. You want to just isolate tanks like that, and then that you can use your DPM to your advantage, because that's the only advantage you essentially have. The armor is quite disappointing. Isn't really very there. Obviously the hull armor, everyone can pen it, at least with premium rounds. Tier 7s might struggle, but obviously every tier 8 is simply just gonna straight go through. The turret can be quite strong, but most of the time, it isn't. So, like, this is basically how you play this thing. You know, you hope that the enemy sits in front of you, you hope the enemy doesn't actually fight you, and doesn't have a brain. You know, because if the IS-3 peeks me, shoots me for 400, pulls back, I can't do anything. Because obviously, he does have a better gun and better alpha damage, but in a situation like this, where he's just sitting in front of me, I can play out the DPM of this vehicle, which, as you can see, it does work very well, and you can make very good use of this thing. However, obviously, most of the time, that doesn't really happen that much. That speaks against the Carnarvon is that the T-34 is a better tank. Well, it does have 700 less DPM, yes. However, it has double the alpha damage, has a lot more penetration, and it has a lot more turret armor. And it is also a lot cheaper. So while they're about equal in terms of performance, it is sold for a lot cheaper, for 5,500 gold instead of around 8,000. And the Action X isn't that much better in terms of price than the T-34. It probably isn't even better at all. Go for it, here we go, and obviously, second battle, tier 7, and if you look at the team list, if you look at the enemy team list, I am again the tank with pretty much the lowest alpha damage, except for the WoTB, depending on what gun he's using. So, that's not a good sign now, is it? Obviously, as you saw in the previous battle, if you can use the DPM on a tank that's sitting out in the open, then yes, that works beautifully. However, most of the time you have to shoot so many times, and to expose yourself so many times, that you're just gonna get wrecked. Obviously, if I get great games, that doesn't really represent that very well. But then again, this is the NA server, so me using 10% of my skill is gonna put me #1 in a tank. Somehow. Anyway, Now this is a problem, you know, because obviously he has 400 alpha damage. I have 190. I can't peek him, which means I can't really pick fights that I want. I have to just look for opportunities somewhere, rather than being able to, hey you, I'm gonna fuck you. So that's quite sad. And obviously, if you like camping, basically, then it can work a lot better. But overall, it's just a very, very disappointing tank because it has a very specific kind of playstyle that doesn't really suit anyone. And it doesn't suit me either because I don't really like sitting around in a corner and waiting to shoot someone. You know, because that's basically what you have to do. Can't trade him, can't trade him, can't trade him. And he's experiencing that firsthand right now in the Action X. He takes 190 damage and then he's dead. So there's someone behind me. Nice. Okay, the third armor, as you can see, can work quite well. But obviously, if you have someone behind you, then that's never a good sign and never a good thing. And it's also never a great sign of your team, because then they don't have much map control. But, yeah. That's the LTDB, isn't it? Right behind me. Yep. It's not great, though. But then again, we do have the right side of the map. We just don't have a lot of control over the right side of the map, so it's a bit sad. Okay, let's see what we can do here. He has 400, I have 190, which doesn't really help. But now he's tracked right in the position where he can't shoot me. Let's go. We got a 310 hit from back there some time ago, so that might be the Tiger that moved up. It can't be the ICU because it doesn't have 310 alpha damage. So, yeah. All those kind of things. Okay, let's see. The LTTV is probably still over there. And now, yep, I'm spotted. I have no idea what the ICU is. I don't want to find out. But we'll see. There we go, we did find out. Obviously, trading with an ICU is never a good idea. And that's obvious, but, you know, even with a Tiger, I don't have a chance. Basically have to wait for him to bait, and then I can shoot him like that, which is not really nice. Now, I don't recommend this tank, and there are people that say it's OP. It is not. The people that say this tank is OP are stupid, are absolutely stupid. It does have certain things it can do really well. However, it has so many downsides, with armor, mobility, and especially alpha damage, that isn't OP by any means whatsoever. Can work good, but at best, this tank is about decent. Which works, but still, I'd rather buy the T-34. And yeah, that's about it for me. I wouldn't buy it. If you want it, I can't stop you, obviously. If you're having a good time with it, that's great, you know, that's cool. However, it ain't anything for me. And I do think that it is not very bad player friendly either, or average player friendly, because obviously low alpha damage means you have to peek a lot, and when you peek a lot, you can get shot at a lot. And obviously, if you're not that great at the game, you won't just see opportunities as well as a good player. That is going to be quite a big disadvantage for you. So basically, don't buy it. Don't buy it. You should have. The AMX M454 was on Black Friday. You know, I told you to buy it. If you didn't buy it back then, too bad. So yeah. Also, thanks for watching. Hope you like and subscribe. If you don't, too bad. And yeah, see you for the next one. Goodbye.